Many have asked whether he believed in God. The question hung in the cosmic void, suspended between faith and skepticism. Carl Sagan, astronomer, thinker, and cosmic poet, walked a contemplative path between the cathedrals of religion and the observatories of science. In a universe vast beyond comprehension, where galaxies dance in eternal silence and stars breathe life into planets, what space could there be for traditional deity? In his search for truth, Sagan found something greater than gods. He found the cosmos itself. Yet Sagan never dismissed the profound human hunger for meaning, for connection to something greater than ourselves. His approach to the divine wasn't rejection, but transformation, elevating our conception beyond anthropomorphic figures to something far more magnificent. The universe itself, with its billions of stars and immeasurable depths of time, its laws and mysteries unfolding across 14 billion years of cosmic evolution. And you? Have you ever wondered if your concept of the divine is too small, too human-shaped, to capture what might truly exist beyond our understanding? Could your spirituality survive contact with the vastness of scientific reality? The gods we create often look suspiciously like ourselves, angry, jealous, loving, forgiving, cosmic projections of our own consciousness. Sagan recognized this pattern throughout human history, our tendency to fashion deities in our own image, to place human emotions and motivations at the center of the universe. Yet the cosmos he revealed through science was far more wondrous than these anthropomorphic constructions. A universe of hundreds of billions of galaxies, each containing hundreds of billions of stars. A cosmic tapestry where matter transforms into energy and back again, where space and time curve and stretch, where quantum particles communicate instantaneously across vast distances. The universe does not need to have been created by something more complex than itself to be worthy of our deepest reverence. This was Sagan's true cathedral, not built of stone and doctrine, but of stellar nurseries and galactic filaments, of natural laws elegant beyond imagination. He found awe not in miraculous interventions that violated physical law, but in physical law itself. The fact that hydrogen atoms, given enough time, could evolve into consciousness capable of understanding its own origins. That we, made of star-forged elements, could look back at the stars and decipher their nature. This, to Sagan, was the true miracle, not the parting of seas or resurrection of the dead, but the emergence of mind from matter, of comprehension from complexity. What Sagan rejected wasn't spirituality, but its confinement to narrow anthropocentric narratives. He invited us to expand our spiritual horizons to encompass the actual universe, not as we wish it to be, not populated by cosmic parents who reward and punish, but as it is, vast, mostly empty, indifferent to human concerns, yet paradoxically the source of everything we value: our bodies, thoughts, loves, and aspirations. All emerge from this universe through natural processes over immense time. He saw no need to invent supernatural realms when the natural realm contained such magnificence, no need to posit divine intelligence when evolution through natural selection could produce the astonishing complexity of life. The processes themselves became worthy of reverence. And you? Can you find meaning in a universe not created for humans, but one where humans emerged naturally? Does the idea that we are the universe becoming conscious of itself inspire you more or less than traditional religious narratives? What is prayer but attention? What is reverence but deep appreciation? When Sagan gazed through telescopes or pondered the structure of DNA, he was engaging in acts of devotion, devoting his consciousness, his attention, to understanding reality. not to escape it through supernatural fantasies, but to connect more deeply with what actually exists. This perspective transforms our understanding of the sacred. The sacred isn't elsewhere, in some transcendent realm. It's here, in the intricate dance of atoms that form your body, in the evolutionary heritage written in your genes, in the connectivity of all living things through shared ancestry. For Sagan, there was something profoundly spiritual about the scientific endeavor itself, this collective, multi-generational human effort to understand our place in the cosmos, the humility required to follow evidence wherever it leads, the courage to discard beloved ideas when they fail to match reality, the wonder that comes from discovering how the universe actually functions, rather than how we imagined it might. These scientific virtues were, for him, spiritual virtues as well. When we grasp that we are structurally, atomically part of the cosmos, spirituality becomes not belief in another world, but recognition of our true nature in this one. He found it more impressive that natural processes could produce consciousness than to attribute consciousness to the beginning. More awe-inspiring that complexity could emerge from simplicity through evolutionary processes than to begin with ultimate complexity in the form of a creator. The universe, unfolding according to discoverable laws from a state of primordial simplicity to ever-increasing complexity. This was Sagan's Genesis story, and he found it far more magnificent than traditional creation myths. His spirituality wasn't about escape from the material world, but deeper immersion in it, not about transcending physical reality, but about recognizing its full depth and wonder. The billions of neurons firing in precise patterns to create your thoughts, the atoms in your body forged in stellar explosions billions of years ago, the unbroken chain of life stretching back 4 billion years to the first self-replicating molecules. These weren't merely scientific facts for Sagan, but sources of profound spiritual connection. And you? Have you ever felt a sense of the sacred when contemplating natural phenomena? A starry night, a forest ecosystem, or the mathematical elegance of physical laws? What would it mean to develop a spirituality grounded in what we know rather than what we merely believe? Imagine standing on a beach, waves lapping at your feet, gazing at the ocean stretching to the horizon. Now imagine expanding that perspective, seeing Earth from orbit, a blue marble suspended in blackness. Expand further, our solar system, a tiny neighborhood in one spiral arm of a galaxy among billions. With each expansion, your personal concerns diminish in significance, yet paradoxically your connection to something greater increases. This practice of perspective shifting was, for Sagan, a spiritual discipline, not to diminish human existence, but to properly contextualize it within the grand cosmic drama. Sagan recognized how this cosmic perspective transforms our values. From Earth's orbit, national boundaries vanish. From interplanetary distances, our conflicts seem petty. From intergalactic scales, the survival of our species becomes the only political concern worthy of the name. This wasn't mere philosophical musing for Sagan. It was urgent, spiritual reorientation. True spirituality requires no beliefs contrary to evidence, only the ability to perceive wonder in what actually exists. By understanding our true place in the cosmos, we might avoid self-destruction, might grow beyond tribalism and short-term thinking, might become worthy stewards of the planetary home that nurtures us. He saw how religious impulses, divorced from scientific understanding, could become destructive, leading to environmental degradation because God will provide, or Earth was given for our dominion, or to nuclear brinksmanship, because God is on our side, or destiny favors our ideology. For Sagan, genuine spirituality couldn't contradict our best understanding of reality, but must be built upon it. Our reverence must extend to the actual mechanisms that sustain life: the water cycle, photosynthesis, nitrogen fixation, not just to abstract concepts of divine providence. For him, spirituality wasn't about retreating from the world into mystical contemplation, but engaging more deeply with reality through understanding. Knowledge wasn't the enemy of wonder, but its amplifier. To know that every atom of carbon in your body was created in the nuclear furnace of a star that exploded billions of years ago doesn't reduce you to mere matter. It connects you to cosmic processes of literally stellar significance. This wasn't materialism as spiritual impoverishment, but materialism as spiritual enrichment, finding in the substance of reality itself reasons for reverence. And you? How might your values and priorities change if you regularly contemplated your place in cosmic time and space? Would such practice make your daily concerns seem more significant or less? Would it inspire despair at your smallness or reverence for your connection to something so vast? When ancient humans faced lightning, earthquakes, and plagues, they invoked gods to explain these phenomena. As understanding advanced, these events moved from the realm of the supernatural to the natural, not diminished in wonder, but newly comprehensible. Sagan saw this pattern continuing. What we once attributed to divine intervention increasingly reveals itself as the working of natural processes. Yet unlike some scientists, he didn't interpret this as the death of God, but as the progressive revelation of how truly remarkable the cosmos is without supernatural intervention. Sagan was fascinated by the capacity of natural law to generate complexity, consciousness, and meaning. That mathematical relationships operating on primordial hydrogen could eventually produce Mozart's symphonies, and Einstein's insights seemed to him more miraculous than any traditional conception of miracles. The universe is not only stranger than we imagine, it is stranger than we can imagine. And in that eternal strangeness lies the seed of perpetual spiritual renewal. The elegant simplicity of natural selection, producing the staggering complexity of the biosphere, the emergence of consciousness from networked neurons, the development of love and ethics from evolutionary processes. These weren't evidence against meaning or purpose in the universe, but hinted at a deeper kind of meaning, one not imposed from outside, but emergent from within. He rejected the God of the gaps, using divine intervention to explain what science temporarily cannot. Such a God inevitably shrinks as knowledge expands. Instead, Sagan found the divine in the laws themselves, in the mathematical relationships that govern reality at all scales. The fact that these laws exist, that they're comprehensible to the human mind, that they generate such diversity and beauty, this was mystery enough to sustain spiritual wonder for a lifetime. The universe wasn't merely obedient to these laws. In some sense, it was these laws, expressing themselves through matter and energy across cosmic time. For Sagan, understanding didn't diminish mystery, but revealed deeper mysteries. Each scientific discovery answered some questions while raising new ones. The horizon of the unknown receded but never disappeared. This perpetual frontier of knowledge provided endless territory for spiritual exploration, not in the sense of supernatural belief, but in the sense of encountering aspects of reality that evoke awe, wonder, and profound connection. And you, do you find it spiritually satisfying to discover natural explanations for previously mysterious phenomena? Or do you feel something is lost when lightning becomes electrostatic discharge rather than Zeus's anger? Can understanding enhance rather than diminish your sense of wonder? If you wish to make an apple pie from scratch, Sagan famously observed, you must first invent the universe. This insight captures his spiritual sensibility perfectly, seeing how the ordinary emerges from the extraordinary, how the mundane is actually cosmic. The apple pie requires apples, which require apple trees, which require a planet with the right conditions, which requires a solar system with the right kind of star, which requires several generations of previous stars to forge the heavier elements, which requires cosmic evolution since the Big Bang. Nothing exists in isolation. Everything is connected through causal chains, stretching back to the origin of time itself. This perspective transformed Sagan's relationship with the ordinary world. A grain of sand wasn't merely silicon dioxide, but a small piece of cosmic history, containing atoms that journeyed through stellar life cycles, that persisted through eons, that assembled into this particular form through geological processes over immense time. The ability to hold a handful of soil and see in it billions of microorganisms, the remnants of ancient mountains, and the promise of future life is not scientific reduction. It is scientific revelation. Nothing was merely anything when viewed with this cosmic awareness. Every moment, every object, every interaction contained depths of meaning and connection, invisible to the casual glance. For Sagan, scientific knowledge didn't lead to disenchantment, but to deeper enchantment. Understanding photosynthesis didn't make plants less miraculous, but more so, revealing the exquisite biochemical choreography converting sunlight into life's energy. Knowing that the iron in your blood was forged in stellar explosions didn't reduce you to insignificant atoms, but elevated your atoms to cosmic significance. Science didn't drain the world of meaning, but infused it with more meaning than superstition ever could. He approached science itself with reverence, not as cold analysis, but as communion with reality. The disciplined attention required for observation, the intellectual honesty demanded by the scientific method, the humility to accept when a beautiful theory is slain by an ugly fact. These were spiritual disciplines for Sagan, ways of transcending our limited perspectives and self-deceptions to glimpse reality more clearly. The laboratory and observatory became sacred spaces, not because they connected humans to supernatural realms, but because they deepened our connection to the actual universe. And you? Have you experienced moments when scientific understanding deepened rather than diminished your sense of wonder? Could the practice of scientifically informed attention, really seeing the world as it is, not as our limited senses present it, become a form of spiritual practice for you? What Sagan ultimately offered wasn't atheism or traditional religion, but something that transcended both, a naturalistic spirituality robust enough to face scientific reality while fulfilling our deep need for meaning and connection. He rejected false comfort in favor of authentic wonder, traded mythological certainties for the greater adventure of genuine exploration, replaced fear-based morality with ethics grounded in our actual interconnection with all life and future generations. His view of human purpose emerged not from divine commandment, but from cosmic context. We are the universe becoming conscious of itself. Matter evolved to the point of contemplating its own existence. We are, as far as we know, one of the cosmos's rare experiments in self-awareness, the means by which the universe can study itself, can experience wonder, can appreciate beauty. This isn't mere poetry, but literal truth. Your consciousness is the universe experiencing itself from a particular vantage point, through a particular configuration of atoms and energy. We are a way for the cosmos to know itself, for universal matter to contemplate its own magnificence, and in this extraordinary privilege lies purpose enough for any conscious being. From this perspective, our scientific and artistic endeavors become sacred work, ways of deepening the cosmos's self-knowledge. Our compassion becomes the universe developing moral sensibility. Our love becomes the universe, experiencing connection across the boundaries of individual consciousness. Nothing is merely secular when viewed with cosmic awareness. Everything we do participates in this grand project of cosmic self-revelation. Sagan's spirituality wasn't something separate from his science or his humanity. It integrated all aspects of existence into a coherent whole. The same curiosity that drove his scientific investigations fueled his sense of wonder. The same compassion that made him work tirelessly against nuclear proliferation flowed from his cosmic perspective on human worth. The same intellectual honesty that made him a great scientist prevented him from seeking refuge in comforting delusions. His legacy invites us to develop spiritualities equal to reality's grandeur, not retreating from scientific knowledge, but embracing it as revelation, not diminishing ourselves to insignificant specks, but recognizing our participation in cosmic processes, not seeking meaning imposed from outside, but discovering it emerging from within the tapestry of existence itself. And you? What might it mean to develop a spirituality that requires no beliefs, contrary to evidence, but still fulfills our deepest needs for meaning, connection, and wonder? Could you find purpose not in following divine commands, but in being part of the universe's journey toward greater consciousness and complexity?